I am the program tonight. Y'all are stuck with me for a little while. I also know that the Kansas City Chiefs kick off in about an hour, so may actually get loose in time to catch most of the first quarter. We're into regular season now, so that'll give me an excuse to cut the program short if I see anybody fall asleep. When David asked me if I'd do the program tonight, I'll never turn down an opportunity to get in front of this group because I learn something from y'all every time I do a program here. So I look at doing a demo as an opportunity for me to learn. So I ran out to my shop Monday night and looked at what I might have to demo that y'all may or may not have seen too many times. And what I realized is that as someone who's primarily a pin turner rather than a bowl turner, I'm always buying kits. And when I'm buying pin kits, I always see something else that, it looks like it'd be fun. So I'll order 2 or 3 of them or a starter set or whatever. And then they sit on a peg in my shop for 2 or 3 years. And when I inventory, I realize I got a lot of dollars tied up in things that I've never turned. So when I looked in Monday night, I thought, what I've got sitting around that hadn't been turned would make a pretty good setup for a camping trip. So I picked 3 items. I picked a barbecue turner, a fire starter with a compass in the end of it, and a vegetable peeler. And so I'm going to run through those. Basically, they're all just handles, but there's a little prep work involved. I did prep all my blanks before. And if I hadn't torn anything up by then, I may try to turn a toy at the end to also go into, me and toys. I always like to have a toy of some kind in my demos. So with that, I'm going to get my mask and face shield. Again, so much of our wood that we use, the exotic woods, can cause irritation. So don't ever go in your shop without at least a dust mask on. This is my poor man's filtered face mask. It's an Aurora HEPA filter. Got it from Amazon. Was a little less than $40, and it came with the hose and the masks and the little grommet that hooks it onto the mask. And it's rechargeable, so you never have to buy batteries. But it does blow air into the mask, so it keeps your face cool too, and keeps the face shield from fogging up. And then just a standard bionic face shield. So all of my face shield and mask ends up being a little less than $100 total to have a filtered mask. So see if I can get this on without wrecking the mic. Can all hear me okay with this mask on? Okay, well, I'm starting out with a fire starter. And I don't know about y'all, but anytime I've gone camping, I've always ended up forgetting something, and it's normally the matches to start a campfire with. And this is a little magnesium in steel fire starter. The kit comes with a compass that fits in the end, and when you get ready to start your campfire, and this thing's good for about 6,000 strikes. So it'll last you a little while. If that's not going to be enough, they make another kit that has 20,000 strikes worth of magnesium on it. And I figured I better demo that little thing before I got a bunch of wood shavings on here, because we don't want to burn the maker space down. The pieces of scrap that I have in my shop from projects are what ends up getting in these kinds of things. This is just a piece of scrap wood that I had. I think it's oak, but I'm not sure. But I went ahead and prepped the blank. On this end, I went ahead and cut the hole for the compass. And on this end, it's got the hole for the magnesium rod. Then there's a hole right here in the center. And that's just for the leather strap. So without anything further, I'm going to get after it. Can y'all hear me okay still? Okay, good. The tool I'm using is just a regular scraper, a roughing tool. It's carbide. It's an Easy Wood, shameless plug for Easy Wood. They're selling now through most of the places I like to shop. So I'm going to move this in a little bit. And we do have a good Easy Wood tool demonstrator, as y'all, if you didn't already know, learned just a few minutes ago. But they make great tools, and they make my life in the shop a lot more pleasant. And just because with a rough and gouge, you never can get everything just nice and even, I'm going to go ahead and take a regular skew chisel and use it as a negative rake scraper to smooth this out a little. Here we go. Nice thing about these is, you know, when you're turning a handle, it always gets where you want it to quickly, and you don't have to worry about it looking just a certain way, because a handle's a handle. But I'm going to go ahead and sand this one down a little bit and put some finish on it, and then we'll assemble it. Starting out with 180, because this oak that I'm working with tears out a little bit when you get in a hurry. Go to about 900 RPMs to sand. This way at least it'll keep the splinters down. I did maybe leave the handle a little proud on either end of where you might think about it going, but since it's going to have the magnesium rod in it on one end and a compass on the other, I wanted to have a little protection for those two things. Up to 320 now. And for those who've ever seen me turn pins, you know my favorite finish is glue boost. But tonight I'm going to use a sanding paste and a beeswax finish. And I'll talk a little bit more about it when I get there. I'll be using 5-minute epoxy to set these. When you're sanding on this end, there's a hole drilled, about a 1/4 inch hole for the leather strap that holds the striker. So it makes it a little harder to sand this spot. It doesn't feel quite as good as the rest of the handle does, but I think that's probably going to look and feel okay when we get a finish on it. Quick and simple project, handy to have around, whether it's for your barbecue grill or for the campfire or whatever. The finish I'm using is very similar to Yorkshire. It's Acks, and it's made here in the U.S. It's a family company that are up in, I believe, Pennsylvania. And the couple, the Ackleys that turned this product out, she had been a lab tech. He had been a blue collar worker, factory type, I think it was. And his health got bad enough that he had to retire. And they worked on their sanding paste and stuff from their house, and their business is a home-based business. But they're beginning to get some notoriety now. But this is Acks, A-C-K-S. It's their abrasive sanding paste. And then I'll be finishing off with their restoring wax. And the wax that they use is a white organic beeswax with carnauba wax added into it for durability and shine. It pretty well works as a friction polish too, so. But as the base in this polishing paste melts, it basically becomes a very fine sandpaper, and it gives a nice glossy finish. And it doesn't take much. I've had that particular container of sanding paste for about 1.5 years, and I'm 1/3 the way through it. I'm going to speed that up and add a little heat, burnish this in a little bit. And what I do is hold enough pressure on it to just heat up my paper towel. You can see from this doesn't add any color to whatever you're working on, so it doesn't change the look of your project, but it just gives a nice little extra shine. About 1,500 RPMs to burnish it in. It's kind of like using shoe polish. I know I used to polish my dad's boots when I was growing up on the farm, and this goes on the applicator pad just about like that old paste wax shoe polish used to. Okay, And actually, I didn't start with my blank. I picked up the wrong blank. I didn't start with my blank for my fire starter. I started with the one for my barbecue flipper. So one thing about handles are universal. So I will use my 5-minute epoxy and set this in. And I don't know if any of y'all have never used one of these, but they are great for flipping steaks or chicken pieces on the grill. And once you start using one of these, it's kind of hard to go back to tongs. I'm going to mix up some epoxy right quick, but I'll still keep talking if anybody has any questions.
What size hole do you drill in there?
That one is 6 millimeter. I had to eat popsicles so that I'd have all the stuff I needed for this demo. So, yep, sometimes you do what you got to do for the benefit of the guild. And it doesn't take but a little bit. And I like to take these in about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch on these, just to make sure there's enough. And just a little wipe off there, and we'll set this one aside, and I'll pass it around after it's had time to start setting up. Okay, now we'll go fire starter. And this one just takes just a regular 3/4 inch pin blank. And I've always got about 1,000 of these sitting around, it seems like, and never do find a pin that I think will look pretty with the blank. So they just keep stacking up and stacking up and stacking up. So they're good for handles when I don't think I can do anything pin-wise. This one is just a second. I can tell you exactly. And I'll pass this around. And I probably ought to give the shameless plug for Penn State Industries, because they send me about 6 or 8 catalogs a month to entice me to shop. This one for the 6,000 strike uses a 7/16 bit for the compass, and then it uses a 1/4 inch hole for the strap. It's a 15 millimeter bit for the compass, and the 7/16 is for the magnesium rod. And I'll pass this around. The instructions make it seem a whole lot worse than it really is. Okay. But this one now is the fire starter. And I'll pass this around where y'all can see kind of what the finished product's going to look like. I'll try to make these at least semi-pretty, because they're going to go in the raffle at the end of the meeting. Okay, I'm going to turn this up to about 1,500. Maybe a little faster, about 2,000. Now, y'all notice I'm side to side a little more. Every wood turning video that I've ever seen says that you should move your body side to side when you're turning to get a good even turn. And the orthopedic surgeon that offered me a new knee told me if I'd start moving side to side, I could put off that surgery for a little longer. So I'm gonna take advice from much more seasoned wood turners and and the guy that wants to pick my pocket for a new knee joint, and I'll try to definitely go side to side more. And again, I'll go back to the skew to even this up a little. By skew, I mean negative rake scraper. I still don't know how to use a skew after a dozen years. Yes, sir.
I've got a question from Randy.
Yes, sir.
Is that a negative rake or a standard easy wood carbide?
This is a... This one. This one is a standard easy wood carbide. This one that I hadn't pulled out yet is a negative rake. Okay. That's getting about down there. These little blanks turn quick and easy, so go to about 850, 900. I normally use the mesh sandpaper more for acrylics, but I'm getting where I like them on wood blanks just as much. I know Jim likes the abranet or the mesh type a lot when he's doing pen work, and it was at his suggestion that I bought some of this the first time, and I'm really glad now that I did. This 1/4-inch hole where the leather strap goes through is when you drill the hole first, it's a little harder to get it nice and smooth, but it will sand on out. And I got some tear out on this one, so went a little thin. I think maybe I can salvage something out of that. Turn it around and go the other direction. So I guess the moral on the story on this one is, if you want to use this to build a campfire, don't get lost, because the end that broke off was where I was going to mount the compass. So and again, back with their beeswax and carnauba wax. and burnish it till it starts burning your fingers. And again, a little 5-minute epoxy. And I go for the real expensive stuff. I got it at Hobby Lobby the other day when I was in while my wife was fabric shopping. But it's the Bob Smith Industries brand. And they make a really good accelerator for CA glue that comes in the little brown bottle that's a pump spray. So I figured if their CA glue accelerator was good, I'd give this 5-minute epoxy a try. And so far I've been really happy with it. And it's like Brill cream, and a little dab will do you. I don't know if anybody younger than me know what Brill cream was, but yep. You can tell I'm just about to start cashing my Social Security checks, can't you? The compass on these is not a huge prize. It's a little plastic compass, so it's not a great loss to the finished product that the end snapped off where I was going to mount the compass. But then just right through there, and one little slip knot. And while that's setting up, I'll go and pass it around. That one will go in the drawing, but it'll set up in about 10 minutes or so. And the third thing I'm going to make is a vegetable peeler. Another just simple handle, but it's a really handy kitchen tool. This is a ceramic blade on it, sharp as heck. I gave myself a good paper cut off of it, but this one I've got to take home because I made it for my wife. But the blank that I used on the vegetable peeler came from Ross's Dress for Less. We were in there the other day doing some shopping, and they had some olive wood cutting boards, and they had one for $9.99 that was 3/4 of an inch thick. So I thought maybe I'll get some pen blanks out of it, and I ended up getting 16 pen blanks out of that $10 cutting board. So one thing I've learned, if you're looking for acacia wood or bamboo or olive wood for blanks, that's a pretty good place to find some inexpensive blanks. And you know, the olive wood's got as much figure and it's as pretty as any I've seen. But that's what the handle is on that vegetable peeler. But the nice part of the kit on this is the whole kit. And it doesn't come with any instructions, so there's no way you can mess it up. Is that a challenge? Yeah. I won't say it's a promise. Yeah, you just guess at the hole size, and this one ended up being 7 millimeters. And I got plenty of those bits. Okay. One genuine imitation vegetable peeler coming right up. Don't need quite that many rounds. I guess if there's a theme to the program tonight, it's that you can't go into a shop and turn without having fun. And you've always got something laying around that's good to turn on. So, you know, as long as you can stick it on a lathe and it's dense enough to turn, it's a blank. And this is, it's an easy wood cutter, negative rake square cutter on a woodpecker handle. Wood River, it's just from Woodcraft. No, it's generic. As long as it works. Now the kit for these vegetable peelers I've had for about 5 years, and finally got around to turning one. The ones that they have now are more like a standard potato peeler. They go sideways instead of perpendicular to the handle, so they're parallel. Penn State. Actually, that one, this one that we're doing tonight is Woodcraft. But the ones I've been looking at are Penn State. Now, if I'd ever learned to lay my sandpaper out, instead of throwing it in one stack, I could use them for several different handles. But when I'm demonstrating, I always just get a fresh piece for every blank. I can always tell the 400 on these packs of sandpaper because they're the ones that always want to rip long ways on me. For some reason, just the 400s. Those little thin pieces are really good for working right down on the ends of pin blanks. Back to Acks. And this Acks, like I said, is almost identical to Yorkshire. So if you can't think of the one and are looking for it, you can always, you know, run to Rockler or run to Woodcraft and pick up some Yorkshire, and it'll give you about the same finish. I just kind of like supporting family businesses. Saw a Facebook post the other day that said if you support a mom and pop business, then you help them pay their insurance and their light bill and all that. And if you support the big corporate, sometimes you're paying for the CEO's lake house. So, you know, I like helping mom and pop businesses pay those bills. I grew up on a family farm and found out right quick there wasn't enough land for two brothers and a sister, so I left it to the other brother and sister and ran away to town. They hadn't regretted it, and neither have I. It's really kind of neat because after you polish that in and that heats up, it just about disappears. Leaves a little smudge, but when you go to the wax, you can't even tell hardly where it's been on the blade. Heat that up a little bit. Here's one thing about these 5-minute epoxies, and thank goodness y'all are sitting a little further back because they smell awful when you're mixing them together. So I'm glad I'm up here and y'all are farther back. I'll go and pass this one around. Whoever goes home with that, make sure it's still setting up. So, but just don't put it in the dishwasher. The kit's fine, but the handle will get a little mushy after a while. How are we on time?
7:33.
7:33. I think I'm going to do one more thing here. Like I say, y'all know me and toys, so I got to at least attempt one. No promises on this one, so I'm just going to dig in and let it evolve, and y'all will figure it out pretty quick. Pretty. James Carter's probably going to get on to me for not sharpening my tools well enough. Here we go. I will take it over and sand it off in just a minute, but I did get here with a string if I can get it untied. But that's what you do when the grandkids are fussing for a new toy and you don't have time to run to Walmart or wherever to get them something that would make them use it for 10 minutes and then throw it down and go find something else. So see if I've got one of these strings. It may be easier to untie. But like I said, I always like to come out of the shop with a toy. And I've tried doing yo-yos from kits, and I never did like the kits. And I was playing around the other day and ended up with a yo-yo that worked. Took about 5 minutes to make it. This is a knockoff version of the Duncan Butterfly yo-yo. you always want to leave it a little bit rough on the spindle. Take it down to about 1/4 of an inch or so. But if you leave it a little bit rough, it'll have enough friction to grip the string to come back up. And they actually work. This one, I just need to spin the string a few more times, but this will go in the raffle too, but I'll take it over to the sander and sand it up. Has anybody got any questions on any of the things I've done tonight? The gist of my program was you've always got something laying around in the shop that you hadn't thought about for a while, and sometimes you can find some really fun stuff. And if you're getting ready to go on a camping trip, you never know what you might need, but you're always going to need a campfire, and you're always going to need to peel some potatoes or some carrots or something, and you're always going to need to flip some barbecue or something on the grill when you're at the campsite. So tonight's program was what you could find in your shop that'll come in handy on the camping trip, and toys for the grandkids or the grandpa. And with that, does anybody have any questions? Everything that I made tonight will go into the raffle drawing. I do want the olive wood vegetable peeler back because I had to steal it out of the kitchen drawer tonight. So with that, I'm going to call it a night, and we'll have a raffle. Thank y'all.